I think it's the first choice that we should say. Yeah, let's go with it's Cynric. Your enemy? Everyone's enemy. Dithric strides forward, calling for his men. Keep together, don't be tempted into the darkness by them. Fall back to the pillars, the temple entrance, we'll defend there. The men fall back and stand with you on the temple steps. Dithric raises his voice. I know not what creature you might be, but my faith in the Lord is strong and my sword is keen. You will not prevail. Step out of the shadows and come into the light. There's a guttural laugh, a bark, in the darkness straight ahead of you. A figure steps forward, at first a silhouette, tattooed skin gleaming in the moonlight, then face lit red by the embers of the guttering fire. One long braid coils like a serpent from high of his shaven scalp down to his shoulder. He's stripped from the waist up and is all lean muscle. His arms and his hands drip with gore, and his eyes are jet black with no sign of white. Cynric. It is a demon, whispers Dithric, more cold than you've seen him. No, says Emrys, but something more than a man. Be wary, Arthur. Two more forms step into the light, each bigger than Cynric, each stripped to the waist and corded with bloodied muscle. One man, one woman, each with the same darkness in their eyes. None of them carry weapons. Cynric beckons. Come into the shadows, he says, accent thick. Bring your god. Then all three vanish back into the darkness. You've got to do something. You move closer to Dithric. We can't hold. We need to get everyone out of here, a fighting retreat before we're trapped. I don't think this actually makes a lot of sense because we would have to go into a forest. Or, Dithric, we can hold the temple if the villagers help us. Or, we should keep Cynric and his folk busy while the villagers escape. This is stupid and this is stupid. We have to hold the temple. If we have walls around us and if we have everyone in the light and in the temple, I don't think he can hurt us. Getting anywhere out in the darkness is a stupid idea. Dithric watches the darkness carefully for a moment, showing no sign that he's heard you. Then, finally, he shakes his head. I will not stand with godless heathens. I have a mission here that is clear, to destroy these creatures of darkness. With that he gives a shout and raises his sword high. Brothers of Christ, we have at last found that which we've spent so long searching for. Here is our foe. Here is our chance to make a difference in this world. The Lord calls us. Blessed be the Lord, my rock, who trains my hand for war and my fingers for battle. His men echo the blessings. Some kiss crosses that hang as pendants around their necks. Then they lift up shields, raise swords, and walk forward into the darkness. Idiots, mutters Morgan. Come on, Art. We have barricades to build. At least they have bought us time. Well, nothing really changes. You and Morgan dash into the temple to find that the villagers who were tied up have already freed themselves. A handful of them are armed with staves, candlesticks, stones, anything they can find as weapons. Any loose blocks, any tables, bits of woods, statues, anything you can find, you tell them. Pile it up in front of the doors. Let's make them pay for every inch. And light more torches, adds Emrys. They fight in the darkness. Let's deny it to them. Yes, that's intelligent, finally. The sounds of fighting from outside have stopped. None of you discuss why that might be. It remains unspoken that it's almost certainly because Dithric and his followers are bleeding corpses on the ground. You strengthen barricades, light makeshift torches, tend to the villagers' wounds, and search for anything that might be of aid. At Emrys' urging, the old temple is now brightly lit, the old frescoes and crumbling stonework gleaming. Gawain takes up station by the temple pillars, keeping a watchful eye on the night outside. Art, Gawain at the entrance, by the gods! He scrambles over the barricade and is outside. You have barely time to wonder why before he's climbing back up, dragging a body with him. One of Diffric's men, bloodied, armor torn. Hauling him up is Diffric himself. When you have managed to get them all back into the temple, you realize that Diffric's force has been reduced to 4 men where once there were a dozen. A moment of numbed silence is shattered as something smashes into the side of the building. Tiles clatter to the floor and you hear a scrambling across the roof. Run, or come on you bastards, or remain silent and listen for the other sounds. Run is stupid. Come on you bastards is stupid as well. Remain silent. You hold your fingers to your lips, silencing the others, and you wait, sword poised to strike. More tiles scatter above you, and when something falls down amongst you, you are ready for it. You leap forward, slashing across a tattooed torso with your sword. Gavaine's charge drives it backwards into the barricade. It screams in anger and rears up. You hear Morgan's bow sing. An arrow sprouts from its shoulder. Another shape drops from the ceiling. Gavaine chops down with his sword, but it rolls, ducks, and slams one of Diffric's men aside. You hear a sickening crack, and then it's standing in front of you. Cynric, head down, eyes jet black, chest heaving and slick with sweat and blood, hands open, hands clawed, gleaming talons half a finger in length. Holy shit, this is like a horror movie. You bring up your shield just in time. His blow takes part of it, shredding through hide and wood. You slash up with your sword. It slices through the flesh of his forearm, drawing blood. His smile is vicious as he throws himself at you. Your sword cuts deep into his ribcage and wedges there. Claws rake down your arm, splitting your vambrace. He drops and rolls to his feet, and the sword wrenched from your hands. He stands swaying slightly, surprised, looking down at the blade embedded in his side. One of Diffric's men takes the chance to aim a spear blow at Cynric's chest. Cynric seizes the haft, drags the man up close, headbutts him, and then hurls him against the wall. Then Cynric reaches down and rips the sword free. Blood gushes. He drives the blade through his attacker's chest with unnatural force. Metal shatters bone, and there's a horrific crack. The stone wall splits. The body slides to the floor, leaving a trail of gore. And your sword, Uther's sword, the sword said to have belonged to Maximus the Great, falls to the ground in 2 pieces. Gavaine pulls you out of the way, standing in front of you. One of Diffric's men pushes a spear into your hand. Your head spins. All you can really see is the flash of steel and splatter of blood. Morgan grabs your shoulder. This is chaos. We need to do something, Arthur, or we'll be slaughtered. I might have an idea, shouts Emrys, if you can keep them busy, but it's risky. Do it, Emrys. We'll hold them off as long as we can. Or I pull everyone together, Diffric's followers, the villagers, and my friends, and go into a full attack, concentrating on driving the Saxons out. Or I'll challenge Cynric to settle this one-on-one. You've got to be shitting me. That's like the stupidest idea I could do. I'm not entirely sure this is a good idea. A full attack. Did we kill the first one? I can't be sure. Let's give Emrys a chance. This might be our last chapter, but let's give Emrys a chance. Emrys pushes up next to you. Hold them there, he says. Then drop back when I say. Now you've got space to breathe. You can see that there are 3 of them. Cynric and the 2 you saw outside in the darkness. Keep them busy, you snap at Gavaine and Diffric. Defend, don't attack. You get a nod from each to show that they understand. Only 2 of Diffric's men remain. They lock shields with you, Gavaine and Diffric, to keep the Saxons back. Some of the remaining villagers have armed themselves with stones to throw into the fray. There's only a moment's respite before they attack again. The woman tears away Diffric's shield. Gavaine kicks her in the thigh, driving her backwards, and then you are concentrating hard, blocking blows aimed at your companions, letting them slide off the spear's haft abandoning attack in a furious attempt to stop the Saxons getting a blow through. Your arms burn and sweat drips into your eyes. You know that you can't keep this up for long. Then, as you slip on slick blood and Morgan steadies you, you hear Emrys's hiss. Now! Back, you tell the others, and the line falls back, step by step, until you stand next to the altar. A Saxon calls one of the soldiers to the floor. Gawain drags him back behind his shield. Hold! A terrible voice erupts from nowhere with a great rushing roar, and a light flares up. A gout of flame, intense white. It comes from the altar. As your eyes adjust, you see a shimmering form floating above it, a figure of white fire, twisting and writhing. A robed man? A woman in a flowing dress, arms outstretched? It shifts and changes as you watch. You realize the room has fallen silent. Sanctus, 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 Dominus Deus exercitum. The figure intones, voice sonorous and echoing. Plena est terra gloria tua, glori patri, gloria filio, gloria spiritui sancto. A prayer to the Christian God. Difric's face is white. Cynric stands slowly, one hand shading his eyes, seeming diminished in the light. He says something in the Saxon tongue. You don't understand it, but his manner is arrogant, swaggering, yet you detect an undercurrent of fear. The figure shakes, roars words in Saxon that you don't understand, and then the altar explodes with light. Then darkness falls. When your eyes finally adjust, you see that Cynric and his companions have fled. Difric is face down on the floor, muttering in Latin prayer. His remaining followers are doing likewise. The villagers are covering at the back of the temple. Emrys emerges from behind the altar, looking terribly pleased with himself. That was you? Whispers Morgan. Emrys puts his hands together with a pious expression. On the contrary, it was an act of God, he says. Morgan snorts. All right, says Emrys. An act of the Roman priest who designed this place. A speaking tube, an oil feed and some bellows. A practical religion. I think you agree. You look down at the Difric. Should we tell him, do you think? Not just yet. Well, that was interesting. But it worked. Even with the Saxons driven off, you don't feel safe in the village, and there are many wounds that need attention. You decide to make a break for it while you have the chance. In the grey dawn, you reach Ifar's Hall, a small settlement of woodcutters in the next valley. The people make the few surviving villagers welcome. They are pale and shaken, and several are wounded. You can't help but think of how many now lie dead in the village. 4 of the Brothers of Christ still stand, all bearing wounds. If nothing else, these men are brave. As for Difrig himself, he comes to you where you sit with Emrys, stitching your wounds, and he kneels in front of you and takes your hand. I humbly beg your pardon, he says. I thought that you were ungodly folk, but your cause is more than just. Those creatures must surely have been demons, and who else has an angel who fights by their side? Emrys frantically stifles a cough. Your cause has my sword, continues Difric, and any others who I can bring to it. You have shown me the way. You have no welcome amongst us, says Morgan. If not for us, you'd have killed an innocent boy. I did, but the lords... You have no power to dispense justice in this land, you tell him. If I hear of your hand raised against any Briton again, I'll remove it. If you kill any Briton, I'll have your head. Now go. Achievement unlocked. Fanatical support. Later, you sit with the others in front of the fire. You ache all over from bruises, and your flesh is ripped and torn. Your companions bear similar scars. What is he? You ask your friends. What are they? I must speak with my mother, says Morgan. There are old stories even among our folk of workers of magic who can turn themselves or others into beasts, says Emrys. And in the Saxon lands, there are tales of something called a skin changer, a shifter, one who can walk in the form of a beast. As for myself, I wonder if perhaps Difrik was not wrong to call them demons. Is Cynric not a man? Perhaps not, or perhaps not anymore. We can fight them, not like this. You saw what happened. Uther's sword's broken. They can't all be like this, says Gawain, and he wasn't like this when we fought them before winter. I think Cynric has found some Saxon magic, says Emrys. We need to find a way to fight against it. You wince as your stitches pull. Excuse me, lord. It's Ifar, the owner of the hall. Yes? We have another here, a man, a traveler who found his way here last night. I think perhaps you might know him? Where is he? He's abed. He drank somewhat yesterday. I can't wake him. When Ifar leads you to the barn, there you find a man sprawled across a makeshift cot, one boot off, an empty flask lying amongst the blankets. It's Kai. Gawain rolls his eyes. This one's nothing to do with us. Well, at least he's fine. I was wondering where he was, because he disappeared at the beginning of the chapter, but I kinda thought that we might rejoin him later on. Having him killed, that would have been painful.